Colorado tickets.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Nancy, I'm sorry, it's still. Okay. We're all set.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. Would you please join me in saying the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, I'm making the motion of the city of Holy Water and Sewer. All in favor? Thank you. Begin with open forum. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say about water and sewer matters? I know that don't. Okay. Oh, do you, for water and sewer? Okay. Good evening. Can you come to the podium and state your name and address, please? Thank you for the record. Thank you.
She had spoken for in topics, but,
Oh, can you say, oh, I'm sorry, ma'am.
5 cents.
Could you say it again? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm Nancy Cuddy. This is my husband's head government. We've been at 5 Center Street past 5 years. We bought our home intending it to be our retirement cottage. And before that, we were summer renters for 25 years that you can enjoy days. This winter was extraordinary. We started the new year celebrating on 5 Center, and Ted became gravely ill. We had to get him to his doctors in Albany, New York, and for the next 6 weeks, he was in critical condition. We couldn't think of anything. And when we did come up for air, I called friends up on the north end and said, please check the house. I mean, it was a blizzard of 2026. We had a catastrophic freeze up. Fortunately, we had some guardian angels that came to our rescue, water mitigators, handymen. The whole community was calling, and then here we are in upstate New York trying to manage this. So when we received our water and sewer bill, we of course wanted to pay for the water, and it was on us that this happened. But all of that water didn't go into the sewer, it just went out the basement. And so we were hoping that you would consider some relief on the sewer portion of that water bill.
Okay, so, excuse me, Nancy, if you are on the agenda in just a little bit? No, that's okay. I mean, and if you have any questions, but we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. But thank you. Okay, okay. No.
Glad you're doing better.
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling better.
I know, that's a happy ending, there it is. Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during open forum for water and sewer? Okay, seeing as there is no one, I will then move on into the report of town official. Good evening.
Just like to report on a number of things we're working on. Provided you just a little description of some of the work we were doing at Transit Mobility. which we continue to do with the old own water staff. Just making improvements where we can with the treatment system. Had a meeting with the Water Resources Board. They are the governing body charged with protecting the supply, water supply in the state of Rhode Island, and we are obligated to provide them our water system supply management plan update. So they are aware that we have a hearing tonight on our rules, and I told them that is pretty much what we're trying to find out with the report, so they would understand that, but they're hoping this summer that they see us there at a meeting and present our final plan to them. Clean water infrastructure replacement plan every year, we're required by the Department of Health to provide that. Similar to what we did with the facilities plan, these two documents, one on the water side, one on the sewer side, just outline our immediate 5-year plan of our system assets, just how we're going to maintain them, and also providing a 20-year outlook. Hoping in June, Ed and I were having a discussion about that, presenting, bringing back a facilities plan on the wastewater side, and then talking about water. I think it'd be helpful for all of us to understand where costs are going to be going for both the water and the sewer side, especially for capital. So we do that in one night. Reservoir, as you know, we're in dry period. I've provided you trends information as I do every month. Rainfall was pretty low for the month of April, as you know. And you can see it in our reservoir. Yes, we're still below our spillway, and as I report to you every year, we like to see it spilling over and going into the summer, and we're not there yet. What we've done though is we've put our South Pond transfer pump in. We've been working with that. Over 3 million gallons we've transferred from south to north. That's how we use South Pond, as you know. Still below the spillway, so. No, there isn't, so we would turn the pump off once we're spilling over because it's, wasting it, otherwise. But we would maintain.
Yeah.
Commission members, could you please speak into your microphones?
Be good if I turned it on. Is there, because the South Pond water is brackish or problematic, is there any issue with this? You can't put too much of it,
It's brackish, it has a high organic, suspended solids.
Okay.
There's a lot of matter, you can imagine, and that pond has 400 acres of swamp,
Yeah.
And that's the water, you can imagine, through the leaf matter and organic sets travels into the reservoir. The treatment plant can treat, it just provides, it ends up becoming a lot of wastewater in doing so. And, a lot of water gets wasted, we end up producing a lot of sludge and has to be disposed of. So that's not how we use it. We move the water and blend it to North Pond, and then we monitor the North Pond, making sure they don't turn it south. Now it's kind of a balancing act, but we're trying to use all the tools that we have for supply volumes. What I did provide to you is we have a little bit more flexibility, assuming the rules get adopted, where administratively, if we get into an emergency situation, myself and then make some decisions, to protect our supply from overuse periods of time that we need to. Distribution, I provided you a little bit, we finished that meeting before Andy's on for the season. Continue with our budgeting for the year. And then on the wastewater, provided you some statistics for the month of April, which is pretty broad. The dry, we're getting flows that we would normally see in July and August wastewater because of how dry we are. Weston and Sampson, we addressed comments that we received from DM for the risk and resilience plan. I presented some of those things to you. What was found, the inundation maps and what assets that we have risk in. And those are, obviously Maple Avenue Pump Station. We have a little bit of, risk at, just down here at the beach. And we have a little bit of risk at West Ferry. What the water, the wastewater treatment facility, as you can imagine, is outside of it, but what it is the access to, which we have to pay to drive. So I received a proposal, which I'm reviewing right now, for the outfall. So the next step is we have dive teams that will be going down onto the outfall and in the bay, beneath the bay, where our wastewater is discharged to Marietta Bay to uncover the pipe, uncover where those diffusers may be located that are missing, and we're gonna come up with a plan on how we have to fix that. And today we had our takeoff meeting for the meter replacement project. So you'll see, we'll have some campaign in the paper, just letting people know it's coming, and work will begin in June. So everyone who's on the system will be receiving a letter, and the letter will give them directions on how they can schedule an appointment with our contractor to have their meter replaced. There's no fee, it's all paid for, so that's coming through the summer months.
Madam President, I just want to point out the schedule here. So, as you know, you don't have a meeting on June 1st. June 15th would be your next council meeting. And as Mike kind of hinted to, right, so we are definitely watching the dry conditions, right? So normally it's an action of the commission, right? But we're on track now to be very concerned about water usage. So we just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Mike is monitoring that very closely and may have to employ presuming you adopt the rules tonight, may have to employ the restriction privileges which are granted to him to issue restrictions if need be. So we are paying very close attention to that at this point, so.
So we're never through a letter of communication. So we have a few people here that are asking for relief on their excess water bill. The first one is Mr. Gene Ryan, 19 Lincoln Street. Is he here? Do you want to come up? Thank you. This is the right arm. Want to give us your name and address?
It's Dean Ryan, it's 19 Lincoln Street, it's a little log cabin, it's what we call Lincoln Lots. Our story is very similar. We were up here, over the Christmas holidays and, New Year's Eve. Left a little after that, heat was leaving the heat on, because the house started to take a little while to warm up. And, so it was at 65. We were lucky enough during the storm to have a neighbor call us and let us know that our sump pump had been going off and working really hard. I think it would have had an indoor pool by the time we got up here. We were able to get up during actually it was just after the storm. We were able to get plowed so we could get into the house and discovered that the water had been running from cracking pipe. Well, thankfully, that was just beyond the shut-off valves. We were able to turn the water off and stop the problem at that point. So we had a pretty significant water bill. 18 went through 145,000 gallons of water. So the MVP of the story is the sump pump, but again, like a little bit.
It's typically our process, as Denise probably told you, that you forgive if it's evident, and if it's evident, and I think it is, that the the sewer was not used, we gave you the sewer charge. Unfortunately, I have to pay for the water. Yeah, we have to pay for the water. So you've forgiven a pretty good chunk though. Yeah.
I never let it get worse, so. Thank you, yeah.
So I would move that we forgive the sewer charges on this one particular.
Yeah, if it just, there are a few charges that do go along with the service for normal use. Take it into consideration, you know, the excess usage, I understand, but I usually typically do an average of X amount of orders to have some sewer.
Right, so what do you recommend then? So
I would have to look at each one individually and go
Okay.
back and take a look.
So would you want, so basically the motion would be to allow you to review and determine the amount.
And then I'll be in correspondence with Jennings, communicating with Christina Collins, so.
Okay.
You're awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
It's Miss,
This kind of figure it out. So, I mean, yeah, if you want to just want to stand, that's fine. So we've heard your plate, spring, and,
I think it would be the same thing, so I'd make a motion to have the finance director and the water and sewer clerk review your charges and with the, to eliminate what's appropriate in your sewer bill. Wonderful.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Thank you.
Are you feeling better? Are you feeling better?
Ted,
Ted, are you feeling better? It's all right. I hope there's something. I was asking how you were feeling.
How am I feeling?
Yeah. Better?
I'm getting better, thank you.
It's good to see you out.
I should go for a while, but I'm biking today, so.
It's great news.
Good names. Yeah. One more. Oh, yeah, come on up. If you, no, if you want to state your name and address, please.
Charles Lawrence. My family's home on Jamestown, is that Freetown, Kroger.
Okay.
Similarly, however, maybe a little bit nuanced and less extreme perhaps, but as part of the replacement of a water meter at our property, we ended up identifying and unfortunately exacerbating a aging pipe between the curb and the home that broke. It had a slow leak, and I coordinated with the plumber to fix that slowly. Unfortunately, the last turn of the wrench ended up causing a much quicker leak. That again, it was water that never entered our house, but ended up being a leak that was significantly more than typical after water consumption. I'm here to request sewer forgiveness on the excess.
We have your documentation from.
Yes.
It looked like it cost you a lot.
Yeah. The water.
For the conservation.
and rescues.
It looks like you tried to do the math for our instruction. I was thinking that, and so I mean, I think it's similar to.
Yeah, so we look together, we'll
Coordinate.
review, and so I would move again to, offer you the sewer charges that she would appropriate.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
And I'm hoping that, it's quite much here next, building site, which we could, you notice that the digging starts sort of right on the split of the,
So we'll see you.
the service. So I might see you, next week, kind of down to the moment. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next we have public hearing. Close that hearing, did we? No, we didn't. We didn't close that hearing, did we? So we can
Continue
go
it.
ahead and continue.
You
We
continue
didn't
it.
open this hearing yet.
Was that?
This would be the first night of the hearing,
Oh, this is,
yes.
This is the rules.
so,
We're sitting as a public hearing for water and sewer. Yeah, and so it's a public hearing for the proposed amendments and changes to the rules. And thank you, Michael, thank you for your.
it's a lot of work. Did you have a moment? Really quick.
Second.
And
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
So, thank you, it's been quite a long process for the work. This goes back for about a year, we've been working on the rules. This rewrite, that's what I would call it, I mean, because we did that, I mean, taken what we've had and kind of make some significant changes on the district. I think that's how it was, this rewrite, was driven by the district.
Mhm.
As you recall, we lost our appeal, and we're trying to hold our district together, due to our supply. So our original rules had two districts. There was an urban district, which was the village, and then a rural district, which was all of the land outside, which included all of the land, everything in town. So our purpose for this rewrite or reorganization of the district was to define the district on where water mains exist. So those that have what's basically the village, Beavertail South, Fort Weatherall, going to the south, the extreme southern limits of town, and then northern to where Wheaton Lane is, where there's a water main existing, and then that small segment on East Shore Road up to what was extended last year. So that, just by the presentation, but that's it in a nutshell. So we defined our district. And by doing so, we've taken a lot of what was defined as rural and urban, and we've taken that out and made it into one comprehensive district. So, that is truly where the most significant change was. And the other was defining what an extension is. So our rules in 5.1 is where our services are, and what we did is prohibit extensions, commercial extensions, meaning by an applicant. So the general rules prohibit private extensions of wording. It doesn't prohibit an extension that's necessary by a board. That's a capital improvement project. There are segments in town that are not connected, we have dead ends that affect water quality. If we had capital money, we would make that extension and make that connection. That's just an example. Or a fire flow issue where we want to make sure we extend to protect fire, both in the district. So those are the changes, the most significant. The rest of the document is more housekeeping matters, and the sections are similar to the old one. It was just, I think, for just making it simpler to follow and to read. And so those are the changes that are kind of through the document. Other than that, it's those two things that I described to you, the district and that extension. So those are the two most.
Did you have any other reports diligently on?
I'm pleased, we altered the preamble a little bit, and and the resolution, which is our next time, we cleaned that up to correspond to the new district and new rules. So I'm very happy, and thank you, Michael, for your patience. And I make a motion to approve the new, but I don't know if there's any questions. Maybe. Then what we need to ask.
You just need to open up for public comment. Public comment.
Anybody's here to talk about.
The water and sewer? No, guess not. Okay.
Right, it's second.
Thank you.
There's a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That brings us to resolution, yeah.
Yeah. I think we can read it. Okay. So, resolution number 2620 2612, the town council of the town of Jamestown, sitting as the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, does hereby resolve that the Jamestown Code of Ordinances of rules and regulations of the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, as the same may have been heretofore amended, is hereby amended by changing the text of the bylaw as follows. Exhibit A, attached here to and incorporated here by reference to existing code regulations. We did it as Exhibit B, attached here to and incorporated herein by references to proposed amendments to replace the existing rules and regulations. Therefore, in their entirety. Whereas it is the duty of the Water and Sewer Commission to preserve and protect this resource and ensure its wise and responsible use, and whereas the service area of Jamestown Water District includes the village area of Jamestown, which includes the commercial district and the somewhat densely developed residential areas that surround that district. It also includes areas to the northeast up to Weed Lane and Seaview Avenue, northwest to the water treatment plant on North Road, and the areas to the south, including Fort Wetherill State Park and the Duncan State Park and Beavertail, including Getty Town Park and Beavertail State Park, as explained here in Appendix A. And whereas the Jamestown Water District is the location of our school, the business community, most of the town of Jamestown's municipal offices and public services, and a large number of residences. And whereas the district and surrounding areas have no other practical alternative to the municipal water system for potable water due to the geology of Jamestown. And whereas the district's current water supply and production is a limited resource, which is dependent upon rainfall that's collected in the watershed and travels to the reservoirs. And whereas the municipal water system has a well-established minimum safe yield due to limited water. Given the limitations of supply and capacity of the existing system, there is no ability to service the entire town with water. Therefore, the water district is limited to where water mains currently exist. And whereas the minimum safe yield of the system has been regularly reached and exceeded during the summer for many years, and the ability of the Water and Sewer Commission to provide potable water to its customers has been seriously threatened from time to time, including in 1994, when drought so reduced the water supply held in the water district's reservoirs, the Jamestown Water and Sewer Commission sought to help the Rhode Island National Guard to deliver water to the island by tanker truck. And whereas these threats have caused the Water and Sewer Commission to install a water line from North Kingstown to Jamestown, and whereas these threats have required the Water and Sewer Commission to introduce significant water conservation requirements and to restrict all non-essential water uses during drought conditions. And whereas the Water and Sewer Commission has consolidated what was previously two districts, once described as the Urban Water District and Rural Water District, into one water district, hereafter referred to as the Jamestown Water District. And whereas based upon the limited capacity of resources and anticipated future demand of the water district as it is been, the Jamestown Water District is confined to the limited geographic area described in Appendix A, and there are no provisions or extension outside of the service area. Whereas the Jamestown Sewer District shall be limited to the water district as shown in Appendix E, and is recognized for administrative purposes under these rules. Nothing herein shall be construed to modify mandatory sewer connection requirements established by 274 or after. And now, therefore, in review of the above, be it resolved, the Jamestown Water and Sewer Commission hereby confirms the consolidation of the two former districts into one Jamestown Water District, affirms the geographic limitations of that district, and enacts and adopts the following regulations designed to protect the Jamestown Water District's water system and sewer systems pursuant to and consistent with Chapter 74 of the town. These rules and regulations are intended to implement, supplement, and administer the requirements of Chapter 74 and shall not be construed to amend and supersede in conflict with any provision of the town code of ordinances by order of the Jamestown Town City and State Water and Sewer Commissioners. And I would move we approve this resolution.
Second, once we have reading in volumes 2 through 9.
All right, motion second, all in favor? Okay. Mary? No unfinished new business, so that brings us to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda for water and sewer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn, sitting as the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioner.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, now it's open forum again for regular meeting. Is there anyone that would like to speak during open forum? No? Okay. We'll move on then. We have, our first presentation tonight, is by the, Elderfield Ad Hoc Committee Chairperson Bradley Parsons. And Brad, there you go. Thank you for coming.
Again, Bradley Parsons, West Street, Charlotte, Chair of the Eldridge Field. With that, I believe you guys received our letter. We've had several meetings over the last few months trying to get down to what can be done in the field, what can't be done in the field, looking forward, looking close, and I think we kind of, just see here, kind of ended up on setting goals right now, at least that can take place within the current restrictions of the deed as we see them. Still stuff that we wanted to be able to go out and work with the state agencies, make sure that we're applying for any permits that might be needed for that, but really the goals in this charge were to improve the turf field quality further. It's in really great shape right now, and the idea is to make sure that it stays in that great shape and continues on that path. Improve the surface drainage on the field. I think, we didn't have that much rain this spring, as Mr. Gray noted, so we did not have to close the field to practice as much as we normally have, but we did have some multiple days where we did have to cancel practice due to standing water on the field. The other one is really, looking at limiting the number of balls that leave the field area on both the eastern and southern sides. This is not necessarily just, I think what I also want to say is it's not necessarily limited to just children recreation. There are two separate adult pickup leagues that play, one on Sunday mornings, one on Monday nights, so it is something that's used not only by, Jamestown Soccer, but other people outside of that as well. And then the other one is looking at feasibility of the installation of a well, potential irrigation, in the future. I mean, I think if you were to go out and look at the field right now, it's great, and it's holding, but come summertime, it is dead of the day. So that was the other piece, to look at that, and understand what the options are, what could be done, couldn't be done, with regards to that. So again, the idea is, I know there was some money potentially set aside. We did look at options for netting. I think we gave some budget estimates with regards to that. We looked at some potential alternatives for natural, more of a natural fence, which obviously would take a little more time to grow in. Doesn't always do the job either, in my opinion, but was an option that we at least wanted to present. So I think with the idea is with money that's been set aside is to start looking at options, right? Maybe looking at some of the arborvitaes as an option, but also look at some of the soil testing that we might need to do to better understand the drainage associated with the fields as well. And then to really get a better feel of what the deed restrictions and how restricted they are going to be when we start to implement some of these things hopefully within the defined field area within the deed as well. If I missed anything, do you want to?
No, I didn't get it down the head. I think we're really, really extremely thankful for having the funds put into the budget for this project. I think it's a great start to be able to, utilize this asset and preserve this asset and make the asset with the town. And so again, it's very, very appreciative that it's there. And I think moving forward, we get some of these items put in place. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Perfect. No questions?
No, I mean, I think it's clear.
Okay.
It's good, I mean, the pro, But anyway,
You could go from those poles to the turf field, so I mean, when we start adding money in development, it's crazy, so. One step at a time, I think that's with a prudent, place, and it's a good step.
And the important part of this is really getting something started, because there's been, the only investment that is taking place at the to this date is really just to help grow the grass. We made some good positive steps over the last several years. That's great, but we're not at all having Eldred Field live up to the potential of what could be a really great facility for the town. That's not only for the kids that play there, but adults that play there, and lots of other things that we could potentially do in the future. We need to take a couple first steps so we can get past all of the challenges that currently exist there, that we've talked about for years now. So putting some of this money towards those efforts will allow us to get over those administrative and restriction challenges that we faced previously. I know, like I said, I've been at a soccer game, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago, and I counted just in the one direction, east over that goal, 22 balls came into the booth there in just one game.
I don't doubt it.
I think Nick and you be able to count it for 15 of them. But nonetheless, like every time the ball goes into the woods in that space, poison ivy, ticks, a certain number of times, thorns pop the balls. Like it's just a little bit of a dangerous situation that's totally unnecessary and frankly we didn't deal with when we could like every other town. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Brad. Thank you, appreciate it.
Is there anything else here that wanted to say? I see some people wearing soccer jerseys. Comment at all?
They're just there.
Yeah. Come on up. You raise your hand?
No.
You weren't that sure.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next presentation is from,
Oh,
go ahead.
I think I was at that soccer game where we saw 22 balls going. I just want to make sure I maybe clarify, and the way that we left the budget was it was $50,000 allocated. That was kind of fungible, between the lawn school or Eldred. Is that true?
Yeah, I don't recall the dollar amount, so the dollar amount I'm not certain of, but there are capital dollars in there that the council basically put in as a placeholder to be used at either Lawn or Eldred Avenue in terms of some type of improvement. We would have to come back to the council before we implemented any improvement, whether it be fencing, trees, or what have you at Eldred Avenue or any other facility, how we would spend those dollars.
After the budget is passed.
Yes.
Okay. So that's important for you guys to know is, once we do pass the budget, then you'll just have to come back as a committee to move forward on any one of those particular projects, whether it's funding that fits inside of that or doesn't, or if there's anything that JSA is going to do in conjunction, that's the time to come back once the budget's passed.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everybody. Okay, next we have a presentation by our representative to the Quonset Development Board of Directors, Barrett Council. Barrett is working very hard on this. And, I think you're all going to find it very interesting.
Barry, I know that you've got more attention than since
I do.
and you've been the last 3 people can bottom.
Yeah, thank you to Town Council for inviting me to speak here. I prepared a few words which are intended to, I think, do a lot of what I think this job's intended responsibilities are, which is to inform the town and community as to what sorts of decisions are being put forth, either currently or in the future, and kind of updating you in terms of more broadly, like what this wants to do and what is the strategy more broadly there. I will talk just briefly about some like more hot subjects as well too. Yeah, so, anyways, all right. So my about who I am. So my name is Barrett Kavanaugh. I was appointed to the board here in January of 2026. My responsibility foremost is to the community and to represent the needs and interests of the island residents as it relates to Quonset Business Park. As a member of the board of the Quonset Development Corporation, my responsibility is also to support the mission statement of Quonset Development Corporation, which is to develop and manage the Quonset Business Park as a statewide asset following the master land use and development plan. There's a 5-year plan that's laid out that talks about what the intended use of this space is. And so, and I can provide that to anybody that's interested. The goal of the Quonset Development Corporation is to attract and retain successful businesses that provide diverse employment opportunities to the citizens of Rhode Island. This evening, I plan to provide an update on the activities of Quonset, less what is restricted under the current lawsuit raised against the QVC recently that pertains to the QSS biosolids. So I'll talk about what's going on, but I can't talk about everything in short. That project, the QSS biosolids project, is on pause and subject to further state level activities. And as mentioned, Jamestown equally well intends to hold a resolution on this project later. So what is the QDC and what is the Quonset Business Park more broadly? So the QDC is a quasi-state agency established as a special purpose subsidiary of the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation. QDC is responsible for the development and management of the business park. It's a statewide asset and it needs to follow the master land use and development plan in the best interests of the citizens of Rhode Island to attract and retain successful businesses that provide diverse employment opportunities. In broad terms, the QDC develops and manages the Quonset Business Park in order to create jobs, stimulate private sector investment, create additional tax base. The corporation engages only in business type activities, that is, activities that are financed in whole or in part by charges to external parties for goods and services. So they rely on companies that are willing to pay them for the investment that supports that organization. The operating plan goals formally of the QDC are, it's a 5-point plan, and that is, first, position the Quonset Park as the crown jewel of Rhode Island economic development. 2, provide superior infrastructure and assets at the Quonset Business Park to drive existing business growth and new business attraction. Goal 3, operate and maintain the Quonset Business Park in a first-class manner. 4, ensure that the Quonset Development Corporation continues to enjoy financial stability and sustainability. Goal 5, continue to foster strong relationships with the town, that's North Kingstown and Wyatt, state agencies and other stakeholders, that would be us, so that all entities work together in implementing a shared vision for the park's future. I'll talk briefly about kind of a summary of the business park itself. The park in total is 3,212 acres in North Kingstown. It represents 19% of manufacturing jobs in the state of Rhode Island, and it is 1,450 developable acres, producing $5.9 billion in economic output, $1.7 billion in household income, and $1.69 billion in tax revenue. That gets paid obviously either to North Kingstown or to the state of Rhode Island. Quonset ranks among the top 10 best industrial parks in the United States, and the Port of Davisville remains one of the top auto importers in North America. It is now home to more than 15,000 jobs at over 260 companies. Over 95% of the park's developable acres are now fully developed or at least negotiation. The park is full, pretty much. What you'll see is some of the activities that I've either approved or are in discussion are really related to what do you do with the last remaining acres of space. Other responsibilities of the QDC. It manages the Rhode Island Ready program, whose mission is to provide services necessary to create a statewide inventory of pre-permitted property that can support economic development. Only 7% of the state's land mass is zoned for industrial uses. QDC owns, operates, and maintains the public drinking water system that serves over 15,000 employees located in the business park. And the QDC developed the Port of Davisville master plan that will guide the improvements over the next decades. Over the last 20 years, Quonset Business Park has undergone transformative expansion, developing 685 acres of land, having 5.2 million square feet of manufacturing space. Since the last air show at Quonset Point, which was in 2018, QDC has grown jobs by 34%, 11,439 to 15,309 in 2025. For every 100 jobs created in Quonset Business Park, 92 jobs are created in the state of Rhode Island. So it has like a force multiplier because heavy industry creates secondary tons. Now I'm going to talk about the governance of the QDC. How does it work and who's responsible for it? QDC is governed by 11 board of directors. 6 members are appointed by the governor, NEP. 4 members are appointed by surrounding communities. North Kingstown, East Greenwich, and Jamestown. The Rhode Island Secretary of Commerce serves as the board chair. Stephen Pryor is the Secretary of Commerce to the state of Rhode Island. He is the board chair. Randy Whiteman, representative appointed by North Kingstown. David Miley, appointed by North Kingstown. Thomas Plunkett, appointed by East Greenwich. Myself, appointed by you. And then the following are appointed by the governor directly. Lauren Burgess, Sean Borowski, David Langace, Adam Lapino, Eric Shorter, and Michael Sweeney. This is the governing body. See. What are the general powers of the board of directors? The board of directors have full authority to manage, control, and operate all aspects of the corporation's business and affairs within the limits of the law and subject to the ability of delegate duties to officers. In short, this includes acquiring, managing, and disposing of property, financing, construction, and operating and maintaining corporate projects and assets, entering and terminating lease agreements, purchasing insurance, authorizing expenditure, engaging in activities related to the corporate mission and developing purposes, setting investment policies, hiring, compensation, establishing and adjusting corporate policies. Anything that costs more than $50,000 would be approved by the board. Most things have to be approved by the board. Sure. So now I'm going to talk about what hasn't been approved since I've been appointed to the role. So I was appointed in January. In my first review in March, there was an approval to exchange land between the town of North Kingstown and Quonset Business Park. And the purpose of that was that the town of North Kingstown would then get land that would be useful for them to build a public safety complex. And QDC would be able to utilize that land swap to build another factory building that they would then lease out to. So I approved that. That included, this is what they call the Flex Technology Park. So these are flexible manufacturing spaces to be utilized. They also approved the lease for that Flex Technology Park and terminated a lease that was previously provided to Revolution Wind in preparation for a lease to Electric Boat. That's the March review. April, we approved, this would be a great time to pull the slides through.
Is this the correct?
April was really all about electric boat expansion, and this is a really important subject. There's been a number of land swapping activities. Can you go forward about the slides?
Am I going the right way?
That's a good one right there.
This one here?
Yes. So there's a number of approvals here, but what you saw in the preceding slides is part of the electric boat master plan. But essentially, electric boat is planning to expand their operation in Quonset Point. And I'm pointing out this particular the location for you guys because this is on the outward edge of Quonset Point. This is a part of Jamestown, part of Quonset that Jamestown looks at. And that big white building in the top left-hand corner there is very visible to residents on the northwest end of this island. You can see it from, for example, the beach really well. So what's important on this is we did approve for them to proceed in the process of talking to the FAA to decommission that small runway there that is the number 5. And what they would do is close that runway and then allow for a fairly large factory. This has been in alignment with the overall mission statement of the park, which is to grow manufacturing jobs for an incumbent. But I want to share with the town here that this is something that is underway and will be something visible to the residents of Jamestown. I will not be surprised if folks are concerned with the construction, although it will kind of blend in with the other giant white buildings that you can see. So that's a quick look at the April meeting. And so now I'll talk briefly about the May board meeting. So May board meeting is tomorrow. The first and only But there's two things on the docket for the May board meeting. First one was the expansion of the Rhode Island Ready program for a piece of land in Portsmouth. And I am recusing myself from that because the parent company, whom is the customer and client in this case, has the same parent company as the company I work for. So I've already communicated that to the board, and that's something I'll recuse myself from. The second subject is on a proposal to support the resolution reinforcing the cause of the QSS biosolids project. So the QDC director sent a letter to the QSS biosolids organization indicating that they would put this on pause. And I'm going to read the actual sentence here because I think this is relevant. QDC and GSS entered into a non-binding LOI with regard to a potential long-term ground lease of approximately 9.34 acres on land located on All American Way in Northern Newtown for the installation and operation of a biosolids biochar manufacturing facility in compliance with all laws. Pursuant to it in terms, the letter of intent does not constitute a binding agreement and is merely intended to specify some of the proposed terms and conditions of a potential transaction. Neither party may claim any legal rights against the other by reason of the letter of intent or by taking action in reliance thereof, and no party had any legal obligation to the other or with respect to the proposed transaction unless until all the terms and conditions of the proposed transaction have been negotiated, agreed to by all parties, and set forth in a definitive agreement signed and delivered by all parties. No such definitive agreement has been negotiated, is executed, or delivered. So, in short, the director will be asking the board to support that process of that project, looking for that endorsement. I'm going to read one more sentence about the biosolids project. The biosolids project remains firmly in the exploration and permitting phase. No release has been executed with USS Biosolids, and no construction has begun on May 31st. The chair and chairman and the PDC director agreed with Quantum Development Corporation to pause any further release discussions at this time and support the legislative commission process requested by House Speaker Shekarchi. We welcome the broader public view and our opportunity for a comprehensive statewide waste management evaluation. The goal is to keep you and the public fully informed of the latest facts while directly addressing the current concerns that have been raised. So that's just an excerpt from the PDC's director. Okay, so I'm just going to now summarize what I just told you, and then I'm going to stop talking. So I reviewed with you my responsibilities as my appointee to the town of Jamestown. I talked about the mission statement of the QDC, the stated goals as part of the operating system, what the QDC does and what it is responsible for, a summary of the 10-year impact of the QDC, the role of an appointee's responsibility of the board of directors that govern the QDC, activities, approvals that I have that have occurred since I have been appointed, which pertain to the March and April board meetings, the subject at hand related to the May meetings, and an update on the pause and resolution by QDC regarding the biosolids project. And that's all I have.
No, just, it's pause, so the topic that everybody's concerned is, as Ed told us last week, 2 weeks ago, it's paused, and they're still reviewing it.
Yeah, subject to further, subject to that commission, as I described earlier, which was a larger study that would be conducted at the state level as to what the state wants to do, essentially.
Sure, I mean, the biggest challenge here really is what are we gonna do to replace the closing Woonsocket plant? So that's really my biggest concern is, and I think with accessing Jamestown the most. I think we don't wanna go back to the way we used to process the storage that came out of some of you guys probably went up the best case. I might ask Mike to review that for us. But I'm curious, are they talking at all about what will replace that next? And I think the intent of the state beforehand was the state's own really industrial park would be the right place to try to address this problem. And I know there's a variety of controversy around this or basic concern, but a couple of things that you pointed out is nothing's been built yet. There's a a lease that's on hold, they're gonna further study it. So there's not a lot to be concerned about now, but my biggest concern is what are we gonna do when the Woonsocket plant closes?
Well, Barry, I don't know how much we can talk about this, but I guess Peter will stop me. You were at the meeting, at the presentation at the library, you heard the scientists and, there was a presentation for those of you that weren't aware at the library last week. And it was, put on by the person that we heard from the resident, Carrie Riveron, who came in and presented to us. I don't know if you were here. And she kind of answered a lot of questions that we had and gave a lot of facts. And one of the facts was, correct me if I'm wrong, this is a private company. And this company can go out and take bids from other states even to use that facility. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to be just for Rhode Island. Is that correct? That's what my interpretation was?
I don't want to disclose that, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
But yeah, I believe it's about.
Mike, can you answer that question? Do you know if that's true? Or, somebody brought up an example, like for, it's gonna go out to bid, to serve, to use that facility, will go out to bid. So in theory, Pennsylvania could come in and use it, and then it's sort of.
Which is, I think, how the other facilities work. I mean, I think we're the two, Woonsocket and, Cranston, right? So do they take waste from other states or only from the?
They're considered
Regional.
This one's private.
Well,
That's-
regional and private, we could have, because you could have a regional plant that could take a variety of different,
The way in.
From what I've read, there's so many documents, there's pages and pages of information on their website. Once it's their own website, you can see all of the permit applications, all of the comments that have been, it was presented that it wouldn't just be Rhode Island. I don't know how far the extent would go or how much material would be trucked in, but that's how it was presented. There was also a question that not only would it be trucked in, but by train, right? I mean, there's some information to show that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know the details of the proposed business model there. I can offer a little bit of insight, and I mentioned this when I reported 2 weeks ago, is, we rely on that type of service, right? So in perspective, we truck about 802,000 gallons of product a year, right? And that gets processed down to about 61 tons of sludge that has to be processed, right? And that's just Jamestown, right? So it is a very difficult situation for every sewer treatment plant operator, including ourselves, when we start to lose the availability of getting that material processed, right? Inevitably, if it becomes less available in Rhode Island, regardless of the outcome in Quonset or other locations, the cost is going to continue to rise. And we've seen increases upwards of, in 1 year, 30% increase in the cost of processing sludge. And I'm talking in the tens of thousands of dollars that we're paying to do that. DEM has gone to the extent at this point to suggest, I wouldn't say mandate yet, but to suggest that we begin to look at a model to go back to processing that internally at our own plant, right? So you can imagine even parts of the process, the investment in the millions of dollars that has to happen to process. So I'm offering you a lot of challenges. Unfortunately, I'm not offering you a lot of solutions. That's the reality of kind of what we're up against.
I'm not going to put you on the spot this time, I'll just say, what I took away from this presentation also in the library was that this is new technology, we can't compare it to what's happening. You might be able to, there's only one other facility like this in the United States right now, that's in California, that uses this process of the pyrolysis.
So just that's, the two facilities in Rhode Island, and it's their wastewater facility, and Woonsocket, they accept liquid sludge, which gets dewatered by press, and then the solid content gets incinerated. And that's how it eventually then ends up in Johnston landfill, which ash eventually ends up. Yeah, you're right. This
is a different process that gets baked, not incinerated.
Right, so you can essentially get off gassing fumes from it the same way. But it was, yeah, it's a new technology.
It's weird. So that plant that's presented at Quonset, will deal with the solid content. They're not gonna deal with dewatering. So the dewatering will still have to be done off-site, and then solids are brought in there for what then makes beneficial reuse of whatever the organics.
If we went back to doing it ourselves, what does that look like?
So 30 years ago, we were processing sludge, so we were dewatering, we had bell presses, we were dewatering in the facility. We had trucks, we had containers, we were taking the solids that we ended up with, the cake is what essentially it's called, and that went into landfill. In the landfill, we had 2 buildings up there, we had open air structure with a roof, where we were composting. There's only one facility left that's composting, it's person. It's the only one person. So we were composting up at the landfill. When the town elected to go through the process of regulatory closure of the landfill, essentially capping it, we gave up our use in composting of that facility. So just before that, when we started entering the process with GCA towards the landfill, we began trucking the liquid sludge for disposal. And it was going to Synagro, which was Woodstock. And now we're going to Princeton. So that's where our wastewater is now, with the sludge.
So right now, our process, if we were, and my biggest concern obviously is what do we do when this happens? I don't care if this is here, whatever it is.
Everyone's in the same boat. So when there's only one facility left, we will all be looking for that resource. We will all be competing. It's not that anyone will be shut, it'll be that they're going to manage the trucks that come in. And that's what will end up happening. So if we have to get rid of sludge and we can't get an appointment or can't get into our facility, and we're going out of state. For instance, Narragansett Bay Commission, they go when the socket isn't available, they're going out to Massachusetts, going onto a rail car and going on paying for that cost of trucking and then eventually to a rail car for disposal. So, sad of the status, I don't know. I mean, but what we do all know is that we have to find solutions, you know, because this is something we generate every day. So it really is, we never stop, so.
Some of the
Yeah, I think what I read was 880,000 to 100,000 tons per year.
I just want to say that I think it's not so much that, well, they are concerned, the people that are rallying against this, basically, most of Northeasttown. And, you know, the governor and anybody else that's come out and talked about it, but I think it's not so much, well, it's very complicated, a lot of issues, it's what it might produce, but it's where it is, it's where it's proposed to be. You know, the schools, there's a child care center right around the corner, the water, you know, like I said, the scientists at the fumes or whatever, that they're often coming into Jamestown. And yeah, I'll admit, my son lives right in the hot zone over there, you know, and my granddaughter, so I am concerned, and I think it's just to support North Kingstown and let them know that, hey, you know, we're looking out for you, so that's it.
So one other question for Garrett, and it's important to be clear, as I think you have been, you were not on the QVC board at any point when any of this was decided, but a lot of the stuff that's out there and that is being talked about now is that this has been mismanaged and or handled inappropriately. Is there anything there that you guys, are you seeing anything to that effect? Because from what I can see, most of it seems like it's gone through the right process. And people are upset about it, they didn't know about it, but just because you didn't know about it doesn't mean it was a secret.
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's impossible for me to confirm that something didn't happen because I was not there.
Sure.
But what I will say is when I look at the way that these proposals are brought forward, you know, any given proposal is 3 or 4 pages of writing that gets handed to you, and you need to read it. And if you're not reading it, and you're not communicating, you know, the implications are not necessarily clear about what these individual things are. And I think that is something we should do differently. I think it would be a good thing have more public discussion. And I would like to see, because like everything has a trade-off, right? Every decision you make has a trade-off. I think we should talk about what the trade-offs of those decisions are, right, before we go. I think that's what I'm hearing, is they want to have more dialogue. I think that's a sincere request. But at the same time, like, seeing what I've already improved, like, I could see this show up and say, okay, what's that project? Oh, interesting. All right, well, sounds like something we need, you know, so I'm not in a position where I would indict, you know, we're going to this business or not. I have not observed that, if that's the case.
Well, thank you, that's helpful. Are there any particular ideas or proposals? I think you're absolutely right. The more you can communicate and get the information in front of the public early, the more you can avoid situations like this, for sure. I know the meetings are public already, so people can come, but it doesn't mean they do. You know, not a large percentage of the population of Jamestown is sitting in the room today, listening to this currently.
Yeah.
Is QEC or the board talking about doing something to get stuff out like that to avoid these situations?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's something that I've specifically discussed with the director, and it's something that I would like to see, which is to have a cover sheet that talks about what the pros and cons of any decision. And then I'd like to know more about what's up there, something come up like next month, so that I can have a conversation with the community before I'm forced to go about it. Yeah. I think he's been doing a sincere effort there, but I'd like to see. You don't want to surprise the leader with a decision. Give a plan to answer. That's not fair. That's the process. So that's something I'll work.
Does QC have any professional staff? It does.
What do you
meaning, like, does the state need people to staff the QC to help you or to help the community?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a board support individual, and it's Jill Shering. Oh my gosh, she prepared it all. I said, you know, it was my house in advance of the meeting, which was really helpful. So yeah, they do it well, and very sincerely. They've got this sense. But we can be more complete, we need to be more thorough, we just have better, more dialogue and things of this.
So then I just remembered, I thought they said that one permit had been, they had gotten some initial approval on something, was it from DEM or do you remember that?
I mean, the original decision as to whether or not they would pursue that letter of intent was in 2024. But everything is on pause now, so. Yeah, so this is the other thing for you. I had Wells who served up some great decisions to you guys. There isn't in front of me, other than to enforce and provide a resolve on the fact that the project is not paused, which is what I'll do tomorrow night when that goes into the board. So that's what I think is a good decision. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was great. Thank you. So next we have, at my request, a resolution,
Yeah, just ask you, who developed the resolution?
Rohit,
Yeah.
our town solicitor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just wondering where it generated from, there was something that was things down there.
It's in, sure, okay. This is a resolution in opposition to the proposed biosolids processing facility at Quonset Business Park, Davisville, North Kingstown, Rhode Island. Whereas the town council of the town of Jamestown recognizes the importance of responsible wastewater and biosolids management for the protection of public health, safety, environmental quality, and the general welfare of the state of Rhode Island. And whereas a private developer in coordination with the Quonset Development Corporation, QDC, a quasi-public corporation established pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws, Chapter 42-6410, has advanced a proposal for the construction of a large-scale biosolids processing facility utilizing pyrolysis technology at the Quonset Business Park in the Davisville section of North Kingstown, and
I'm sorry. And whereas the proposed facility would be subject to multiple state regulatory frameworks, including but not limited to the rules and regulations for sewage sludge management, 250, I'm not going to read those, and the rules and regulations for solid waste management facilities and air pollution control regulations, including 250 RICR-12005-9, all administered by the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, Inc., RIDEM, and whereas these regulatory frameworks require rigorous review, permitting, and ongoing oversight of facilities engaged in the treatment, storage, transportation, and disposal of biosolids, including the authority of the DEM director to deny approvals where there is a risk to public health, safety, or welfare pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 46-12-42.
And whereas despite the existence of such regulatory regimes, the town council finds that significant uncertainties remain regarding the scale, emissions profile, waste streams, and cumulative impacts of the proposed project. And whereas the proposed facility may receive biosolids from a variety of sources, and the lack of clear limitations or enforceable conditions regarding the geographic origin of such material raises substantial concern regarding the potential importation of out-of-state waste into Rhode Island with associated environmental, logistical, and policy implications. And
whereas the town council finds that the proximity of the proposed facility to residential neighborhood schools and recreational areas in North Kingstown and its surrounding region raises serious concerns regarding potential negative impacts on air quality, groundwater resources, traffic conditions, noise, odors, and the overall quality of life. And whereas the technology proposed for the facility, commonly described as pyrolysis or thermal conversion of biosolids, while recognized as an emerging method of waste processing, is not widely deployed at the proposed scale and is subject to ongoing scientific, regulatory, and public policy scrutiny, including with respect to emissions, residual byproducts, and the long-term environmental externalities. And
whereas the Rhode Island General Assembly has acknowledged these uncertainties by enacting legislation in advance of policy initiatives requiring increased testing, monitoring, and evaluation of biosolids, including Rhode Island General Laws 46-12-42, which mandates testing for PFAS contaminants and authorizes the denial of approvals based on risk to public health and environment. Whereas the General Assembly has further initiated ongoing study and review of biosolid management practices within the state of Rhode Island, reflecting the legislative determination that the long-term impacts, regulatory framework, and appropriate policy approach to biosolid treatment technology remain under active evaluation. And
whereas the town council is concerned in advancing a major new biosolids processing facility prior to the completion of such statewide study risks, committing the state to a course of action before the full range of environmental, public health, and policy implications are understood and appropriately regulated. And whereas the town council further finds that the initial actions of the Quonset Development Corporation Board with respect to authorizing or advancing the project taken under its statutory authority and development regulations were undertaken with insufficient transparency, limited public notice, and inadequate opportunity for meaningful public participation, particularly from neighboring communities that may be affected. And
whereas the town of Jamestown has a direct and substantial interest in protecting the environmental quality of Narragansett Bay, regional air quality, groundwater resources, and the health and welfare of its residents and neighboring communities. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council of the town of Jamestown hereby formally opposes the city development and construction of the proposed biosolids processing facility at the Quonset Business Park in its current form and proposed location. And
be it further resolved that the town council urges the state of Rhode Island and Quonset Development Corporation and all relevant regulatory agencies to refrain from advancing approvals for this project until the completion of the Rhode Island General Assembly's ongoing study and comprehensive evaluation of biosolids management policies and technologies. And be it further resolved that the town council calls for a full and transparent disclosure of the anticipated sources of biosolids to be processed at the facility, including clear limitations on out-of-state waste streams and detailed analysis of associated environmental and infrastructure impacts.
Be it further resolved that the town council requests comprehensive, independent, environmental, and public health impact assessments, including air emissions, groundwater protection, odor control, and cumulative regional impacts, consistent with all applicable regulations and statutory authorities. And be it further resolved that the town council strongly advocates for robust public engagement, meaningful public hearings, and full transparency in all future proceedings before the Quonset Development Corporation, Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, and any other permitting or regulatory bodies. And be it,
And if you resolve that the town clerk is hereby directed to transmit certified copies of this resolution to the governor of Rhode Island, the Speaker of the House, the President of the Senate, members of the Rhode Island General Assembly representing Jamestown, the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, the Quonset Development Corporation, and the Town Council of North Kingstown. Adopted this 18th day of May 2026 by the Town Council of the Town of Jamestown. Right. So I just had a couple of, I think there's so much in here that I really do support, and I think it's great. I think that I would take that, the very first now, therefore be it resolved that the Town of Jamestown hereby formally opposes the site and development and construction of the proposed biosolids processing facility at Quonset in its current form and proposed location. I would make that our last, because I think our request to have the studies done and the appropriate review and on a lot of different fronts, whether by the state or through Quonset development, I think that's really important. And I think what I might say instead of opposes is to say that we cannot support the construction of this until the appropriate reviews and assessments have been completed and the project has been endorsed by the appropriate agency. I mean, I don't know if that's more if that's okay with you, or if Peter thinks that works, or.
Does that work?
Well, it's your resolution,
I know.
so you can do whatever you wish.
No, but I agree with you.
I've got a couple of concerns, and actually, and I agree with you, I think there's a ton of things, this is very long, and, we'll call it robust. Most of this I fully agree with. There are some things in here that I don't agree with or I disagree with, and I think there's something maybe that are missing. Because, again, my biggest concern is not that we're stopping a thing, is that we're not doing a thing also. Like, if this isn't the solution, what is the solution? My concern is that all of this, excitement around stopping a thing makes the state not do anything. And we really need the state to do a thing, so we don't end up with the problem that we talked about here tonight. So I want to make sure that we add that to this resolution as well, to make sure the state is looking to figure out what is the right solution for us going forward. There are also a couple of things in here that I think maybe overstepped a little bit. I don't want to be in the position where we're disparaging other public servants and suggesting that they're not doing their job or that they were doing something that lacked transparency, because I think actually they went through the process of getting the necessary permits. Whether they did that at somebody else's, desired level, I don't know, but they didn't bypass the process. They went through the process, they got DEM permitting, they got all the appropriate permitting. I don't think we should disparage them, the town council of North Kingstown, or the state. Totally agree, we go through getting as much information, and we should absolutely support a transparent process, but I think we kind of overstepped there. So I wonder if we could just work on a rewrite of this, and then table this for tonight, go through.
Which one is, which lines do you?
It's the first paragraph on the second page.
Whereas the town council further finds that the initial actions of the Quonset Development Corporation with respect to authorizing event taken, etc., were undertaken with insufficient transparency, limited public notice, and inadequate opportunity for
Yes.
That's what the lawsuit is about.
Well, there is. Well, that's a lot of the rhetorical comments.
Yeah,
Digest.
I didn't realize we were still talking Peter, I didn't mean to talk over you. I didn't mean to talk over you, I was talking.
No, that's all. This was public comments that people had leveled against the process, primarily that, when it was done correctly according to the law, but it was done in such a way that people would have missed it easily, and weren't really appraised of what was going on. That's a comment.
Might we add that it's an unfortunate circumstance that our representative to Quonset was dead? I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's you can,
Well,
you
it's
could draft
that
those however
was,
you wish.
was stating on the board. Okay, that was, yeah. So we did not have representation. Okay. I mean, I would agree with her. I mean, I think I want to be careful to take away some empowerment away from our representative on the Quonset board, because if we like somehow, some way craft a resolution that says that we kind of categorically oppose a project like this at Quonset, I think that would be very hard for our board member to participate in that dialogue. Like, there are ways that I could see us being supportive, at least for me, I don't know about the rest of the council. There's ways that I could see me being in support of something like this at Quonset, and there are ways that I could see myself not being in support of it based on the facts that are gonna come out and the studies that are gonna be done. So, and I wanna be very careful about limiting our ability to participate in that, because we're in a pretty privileged position as a community, because we actually sit on this board. So that's like overarching in terms of how I'm thinking about approaching this resolution. I do think there's some like editorializing of this that I think is very important and good. Like, there's much of it that reinforces the regulatory framework and a lot of things that really need to be done and should be done. And then it goes beyond that a little bit to reinforce what we think we want as a community. So, but I want to be very careful about, like, I think the signaling can be really troublesome. Like, if we signal that there's kind of a boogeyman out there about this, and we know that there is a really significant issue where if we don't have an avenue to dispose of the waste that no one seems to want anywhere in our community, then that means that we're probably, you know, I don't know what the consequences of that are. I know that it will probably cost us more. So is that the trade-off we want to make? Yeah, but there's just a much bigger dialogue here that I think we need to have, and I just want to be careful about the draft.
I also, I don't want to promote that, like, a NIMBYism attitude. This is the problem that we have to, you know, survive as a community, and it's all of our responsibilities to come up with a good solution. We don't want to go back to the way that we used to do it. I think we probably also agree, we don't want to continue doing it the way that we do it now, because it's not great either. But as a state, as a set of communities, we need to come together to figure out what the right solution is. So I don't want to pile on. There are also parts of this, I don't know why is PFAS in here? Why is there a statement on PFAS?
That's one of the issues that is out in the puzzle.
So PFAS is not an issue related, I think particularly to this issue, you have PFAS issues when you start worrying about groundwater based upon things like, you can explain it better, because I'm confused, that I've had to deal with PFAS issues before, but never around humans.
So that is the concern of the beneficial reuse of this organic matter that's created from the stone processing. So PFAS, it's in everything.
For chemical instruments.
So, but it's, there are washing machines, it says, they're all in building. So, yes, we're actually having to test for it at the wastewater treatment facility.
For sure.
Of our permit. So, that is the concern that, those that have used this material that's generated as a beneficial reuse in, soil enhancements, like, we've taken this PFAS now that's within the contents of the sludge, and now we're just kind of spreading it. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So would you, I mean, I'm anxious to give Barrett a clue because he's going to the meeting.
Well, I know he was going to mention that at the meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
But what I'm anxious to have him know is that the town has real concerns about all of the things that we've talked about here, and that we don't think, and we think that in a situation such as this, that even more, even if they got the permits, that this requires additional scrutiny. And I guess that's what I'm trying I want to convey. I mean, I think we could rewrite it to make it touch shorter.
I think there's no urgency here, because if I'm not mistaken, maybe you could correct me, that legislative study commission put this on pause for what, till January or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, there's not an urgent rush, you could wordsmith this however you want.
I agree, and I think that would allow us to do that. But I'd love us to say as a group that we have real concerns about, this, for you to convey to the Quonset Development Corporation, this community has real concerns about that and believe about this whole process and believes that it should be truly examined in perhaps an over-the-top kind of way. I'm not saying that very scientific.
No, I think that's right, and I get behind that 100%.
So, thank you, Barry. So, in all my years there, I've never had this before with a resolution, so I'm not sure what the proper procedure is and how to go from there.
Well, I certainly would give it a stab and see if I could address some of the comments you made tonight. I mean,
Now, seeing as,
it's not 100% clear to me, but I have some direction to work from. So I think Roberta and I could collaborate and try to give you an edited version, perhaps.
I appreciate it, I think it's important, I know it's important.
Yeah.
Barry, did you want to?
Yeah, but a resolution that's held at that board level to enforce the pause on this project pending further investigative results at the state level. Right? That's what I'm gonna vote on as a voice of this community.
Yeah.
So if you could endorse me in that, that's great.
Concise and appropriate description of what I believe the community believes.
You could just do that by motion if you want.
Yeah.
Just for that motion, okay, do I have a second?
I just,
You make the motion, any second?
Second.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Barry.
Thank you, Barry, good luck tomorrow night. Thanks for all your work. Thank you, Peter.
We'll see what I get back.
Thank you to the rest of you that have to sit through.
Yeah, again, the one thing that I'm really like to make sure, and I can talk later about it, just because we encourage the state to find any solution.
So long, John. Public hearings, Margaret?
I'm sorry, you missed the proclamation.
Oh.
Graduates Week.
I- Okay. Graduates. Whereas the town council of the town of Jamestown recognizes the efforts and preservance that are necessary for the search for knowledge and excellence, the positive achievements of all students associated with this community, and whereas graduation heralds not only the accomplishment of one level of that search, but the commencement of the next. And whereas this community, like all communities across the nation, will one day reap the harvest of the educational seeds of knowledge that are now being sown. When our students reappear as informed, involved, community-minded citizens ready to take up the mantle of leadership in every field of endeavor. Now therefore, let it be hereby resolved, beginning the week of June 15, 2026, throughout June 18, 2026. So that's supposed to be 2026.
Yes.
Be it proclaimed Jamestown Graduates Week, that the town council, the town of Jamestown, joins with all members of our community in giving sincere congratulations to those Jamestown students at every level of achievement who are members of the class of 2026. And be it further resolved that deep and sincere appreciation and recognition are hereby extended to all of those in the teaching community who have dedicated their lives and ambitions to the accomplishments and achievements of their respective students. Okay, great. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. What? Just put that there.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, next is public hearings, and this one is the one that we did not adjourn from, correct? Still.
That is correct. If I could, Madam President, just clarify what's being considered, what you're asking to be considered tonight. As you recall, I requested that you remove the proposed language that amended anything related to the East Ferry parking lot.
Yes.
I also tonight am asking that you remove anything that refers to Douglas Street
Okay.
So the two items that you're asked to be considering, are asked to consider tonight are Fox Run, no parking on the east side for the entire length. And then Knowles Court, the proposed language is no parking on the south side for its entire length and no boat trailer parking at any time. Those are just the two items we're asking you to consider at this point.
Public. Anybody want to come up and speak? You might want to pull that down.
As you know, it's a very popular place for excess beach parking. We have had in the past few years, there's been an uptick for parking where there's parking on both sides of the streets. There are 6 kids who live on Foxtrot. Being a cul-de-sac, it is a place for lots of kids from the neighborhood to come to play. And when folks come to park there, they often zip down the road at quite a clip, which is faster than anyone who lives there, because you know, on the street. And so the safety of those kids is paramount and our first concern. Secondly, there have been times when cars have broken down and the street has been completely inaccessible. So emergency vehicles, that's a concern. And thirdly, people have had damage to their properties. Mailboxes have been crashed into and knocked down, things that people shouldn't have to worry about. So it's a concern. And so as a result, I would like to propose either no parking on Fox Run or secondly, restricting it to residents only. And I think that would result in folks being a little bit more aware, a little bit more conscious of the fact that there's families living on this island. And it shouldn't be an extra effort for the folks that are regulating the parking, we're doing the ticketing, because it's an extension of where the permanent parking already is. And hopefully it results in a safer street for the successes.
So if we were to do that, that would be the process that we do on Union Street, right?
No.
No?
No. So Union Street is limited to overnight parking with a special permit for residents overnight only. I think what's being suggested is resident only. So on a section of Hamilton, it'd be on the north side of Hamilton Avenue, from Fox Run to Southwest Avenue. There's parking permitted there with a resident sticker only. So I think that is the suggestion, is that you could park on Fox Run. I'm not clear on whether it's east side or west side, but with resident pass.
Is that what you meant, Jamie?
Yes. Up and down the street. The terms are happening. But additionally, hoping that with residents that are parking there, they're a little bit cautious.
Yeah, so no parking on one side, resident only on the other.
Now,
Yes, so parking only allowable on one side as a resident, with a resident sticker, otherwise.
now we've asked for the no parking to be on the east side, and I think Laura had a concern for that then people would come down and turn around on and then park on the west side. So what, west side? And so I don't know if you share that, you are the owner of 2 children in that, it is 2 in that cul-de-sac, so I don't know if you should share it. What? No, okay, well, even if they were both. Really easy to do. You know, I don't know if that's, and also Peter, if we were to change it as we're talking about, can we do that based on this? Okay.
Yeah, it's an open public.
Okay, so, you know, so I don't know if you share that opinion that the no parking should be on the west side?
I think anything that would prevent cars from coming and turning in a circle, that would be ideal. I know historically, people have always parked on the west side, but then again, that would
Seems to create, yeah, people coming out of their driveway. I know that's easy.
Close to the street, it's also the street side.
Okay, so that's what you're proposing, you're suggesting we allow parking for residents only on the west side?
No, wait,
Quite honestly.
what she's asking for is no parking on one side
Yes.
and resident only on the other side. So which side do you want to be resident only parking?
They're still gonna do that.
Yeah, they're still gonna come down, I mean, you have,
Yes, not that.
you've parked to turn around too, so
I don't know, do you know anything about the safety aspect of that? And,
I think it's irrelevant as to what side you allow parking on. I suspect if I park on the east side, I'm gonna go through the cul-de-sac when I leave.
yes.
Or if I park on the west side, I'm gonna go through the cul-de-sac prior to parking.
okay,
I will say it does appear that there's less driveway openings in terms of width on the west side, which would lend itself to more available parking, less conflict, less line of sight conflicts. If you allow parking, presumably with a resident sticker only on the west side, would seem to allow for the most amount of parking available with the least amount of conflict.
And the traffic people or the police department looked at it, that the east side's not, the back side. Restricted.
Yeah, that was based upon the line of sight that I mentioned, and the width of driveway openings there. They would recommend allowing parking only on the west side.
Yeah.
To add the additional regulation of resident only would be irrelevant from their perspectives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, I just want to show you the benefit of like, the people who actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, so I would just change it to, resident only parking on the east side for its entire lane, and no parking on the west side.
this guy is the one.
One thing to consider is the property that's on the corner of Hamilton and Fox Run is purchased last summer, and those owners have indicated that they are planning to change their driveway onto Fox Run from Hamilton. So if we're talking about driveways and where there's
That's on the
mostly-
east side, right? Correct?
That's on the west side, so where there's mostly need for parking, that we factor in something that may happen in the future, I don't know, but just, that's the.
I think we should stick with no parking on the east side. I mean, that's why
Right,
people came up with this traffic study.
and then resident parking only on the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Good job.
thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this issue?
And then on Douglas Street, I think on Knowles Court, we did, that's the redesign.
Let's see. Is there anybody that would like to talk about Bill's Court? Did we vote on this separate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should vote on it, just the one thing.
No.
Because you amended the other one, probably should all have said that.
Okay, so I moved to approve, with that Fox Run, no parking on the east side for its entire length, and resident parking only on the west side for its entire length. And,
That's okay, that's one.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
and then, no support, no parking on the south side for its entire length, no boat trailer parking at any time.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Now, just we can, make a motion to close the, Mr. Kevin? Oh, wait a minute. Well, no, we have, sorry, we have other ones. We have a, no, never mind. That,
Move to close the public
Yeah,
hearing,
okay.
and move to enter a public hearing as needed about
driver's license.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, thank you. Okay, this one is, for a, let's see, one-day license on June 11th, 2026, for, the applicant is Out of the Box Looking Upwards, 11 Clinton Avenue. This is for a Class F nonprofit.
Move to. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And last, we have to, review it now. Okay. Now we'll adjourn, as
Move to adjourn as the board of. Beverage licensing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. This one, what?
Now we have a victory.
Say that again? I keep saying that. Okay. This is for a Victrum entertainment license for the year May 19th, 2026 to November 30, 2026. This is, the applicant is Sunset Beach Aquaculture LLC. Sunset Beach Aquaculture in Robar, 35 Narragansett Avenue, Unit D. Okay.
So, Tony, you've asked for, I mean, not only the victualling license,
Coming up.
yep, but also the, entertainment,
Yes.
and you're saying acoustic, we did grant that.
So see, whatever they have existing, I believe is acoustic with a speaker.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yes, they bring their own speaker, that's what I read on the wall.
Oh, okay.
So it was limited to one musician, acoustic, with one small amplified speaker.
So is that,
But you're asking for additional days and an extension?
No, it's, they go with it.
Okay, so that was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
So what was previously approved there was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday noontime to 8 p.m. for entertainment.
Yeah, right, here we go. So you're okay with that?
I thought it said,
That was your victualling, the ability to serve food.
oh,
This is for entertainment. That's what we allowed to Lula's.
$11 to
So
10 opening, and 11 to 9 music, not that it's music. That's what I thought I read, I'm sure. I think it says one opportunity, right? 12, 7 kids in the music.
7 days a week, right?
And that was, we went back and looked at what was exactly approved for Tallulah's. So with that being said, we just want to make sure we mirror that.
So Tallulah's was, can you just clarify that, what we had approved Tallulah's?
For entertainment, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from noon until 8 p.m.
Right, okay.
And then for victualling, the ability to serve the food would be from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. Oh, excuse me, that was what we did for Tallulah's. Tony is asking for 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Is that correct? Yes.
Yes.
maybe we, you know, we could lose that, be open, or did you ever decide how far open for ground?
Well, so we, have you ever heard of Castle 50 for breakfast every morning.
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, do you plan, yeah, do you have a breakfast service plan?
Whatever the field do with the health department, I believe that's what we have. So he did most of the paper, right, so he put it in there, so.
No, that's okay. I just wasn't sure if you were having like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I just wanted to make sure.
If you put it in there, I'd like more questions with mobile. That would work.
Is there any reason you would limit him from having breakfast service? I don't.
Just the hours.
What, could you just remind me what the closing hour, what Tallulah's was? Was it 9?
11 to 9.
11 to 9.
Yeah. 9.
It varies. I mean,
Or you have
Narragansett
some, you know, those
Cafe.
Little seats that live above that. One goes to bed and the other. It's a baby.
Yeah, understood. But I mean, Tony's trying to start a business, operate a business. If he plans on having a breakfast service.
Oh, I'm not just, I wasn't referencing breakfast, I was referencing closing.
No, I understand, but I think we need to be careful, obviously, if we went into the business that was previously, like, if this is not going to be there.
I know, but the neighbors are there, I mean, everything else is, yeah.
Very much do. I just think, like, why are we using the arts as we think about the new businesses going there? Let's evaluate it on the basis of what he plans or wants to do.
I agree with that in terms of visual, yeah, make the.
Totally.
Oh, okay.
I'm not, I'm trying to take just the business hours.
Okay, all right.
So you're trying to do, what you say, it's gonna be mass for, well,
8 to
10.
8 a.m. until 10 p.m. for victualling.
Yeah, why we would limit it. This isn't their show to be successful. We know and I want to give you the best possible opportunity to have even good business.
8 a.m. and, Friday, Saturday, noon to 8 for.
And I did, I spoke to the kids, the people upstairs, it's a cement floor on there, and they told me they don't get handy with it. Cause no, no,
Yeah, but I think it's where it would be some.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm not gonna take this, so yeah, but I think that makes sense, 8 to 10.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and I spoke with them, and they didn't have any problems with those hours for entertainment previous owners. So I think that's a good starting point, right? Okay.
All right, so that's the night for victualling, we have to do it separately? Or both, victualling license then, from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
The entertainment license Friday, Saturday, and Sunday noon to 8.
second,
As you said, acoustic, small speaker.
yeah,
Okay.
I want to hear your voice, let's hear it. See what you got. When you're playing your acoustic guitar. Yes.
I'm saying that my name, and,
Well, very, very good.
Let's save his voice. Okay.
So we just gotta vote.
Oh,
We said, move to 10, then
All in favor?
aye. Yeah. All set.
can I get just one question? Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's my place, but, because of the liquor license, you guys aren't gonna eat till after June 1st. I had spoken.
No, we have a special,
We have
a special hearing on Tuesday, the 26th.
Yeah.
Nope, Tuesday, the 26th. And just as a reminder, this is all upon approvals, so, excuse me, Tony? And this is all based on tonight's vote is they're granting, but we'll be issuing, but you have to have everything in order. So there's still some administrative approvals that are going on. Okay.
Everything's in the works, we're just waiting to get.
You and I can talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Yep.
Yes, good luck. Let's see, next we have the administrative report.
Just a couple of items to report on, Madam President. So, in addition to the work that the 250th Committee has been putting together related to our 250th celebration, I asked the Rec Department to put together some additional entertainment opportunities, if you would, for families and townwide community events. The first one that they have planned to schedule is on July 17th, a USO themed dance at the rec center. So they were going to recreate a USO dance. They have an appropriate band for that. Hopefully some character costumes that they'll bring in, soda fountain. So I think that'll be a great event for everybody to enjoy. The second is August 6th, and we do have rain dates for August 6th. I don't know what that is. But they're working at putting together a concert at Mackerel Cove. And we do mean a concert. We mean amplified stage, lighting, tent, campfires on the beach. Really just a great community family event at Mackerel Cove. Really just they've been working hard to put that together. The second is, and you may have seen it advertised in the newspaper, this Friday in the afternoon at about 2:45 or 3 o'clock is the rededication of the playground. And it's really in honor of Ryan Bork, who, this is the 10th anniversary, so May 23rd marks the 10th year anniversary in which Ryan was killed. So this is not only a local effort to rededicate the playground and just, continue to bring attention to Ryan, but also to bring attention to the dangers of driving while intoxicated or impaired. With an effort with MAD, there's a walk on Saturday in Ryan's honor in Coventry, which is his hometown. There's also an effort statewide of every police officer, I'm sorry, every police car to display a sticker on the window in Ryan's honor. There's been a couple of news pieces, just a great opportunity to continue to remember and honor Ryan. So this Friday at 2:45.
And the same thing happened in Massachusetts, just 2 weeks ago.
Tragic.
So I remember that clearly. Yeah. One remember again. And you also said that if, I asked you about short-term rentals, you know, where we stood with that, and you said that the town's waiting, the staff is just waiting for us to come back with some responses, so.
That's correct.
I know not in June, perhaps, but in July. Trying to get some responses back to you, figure out a way to see, we had some different letters about it.
Sure.
Two that were precisely in favor, but couldn't quite make it. But anyway, but I think, you know, I think we need to pursue that, because those were good recommendations.
Yeah, so we were not looking to really, you know, land on anything in particular. We're just trying to create the framework of which the council could work from within that framework that we kind of developed for you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to bring you to the meeting schedule. I think this is basically remind us of the fact that we're not having a regular council meeting until June 15th because of the FTN.
Yes, and then additionally, in the past, we're bringing July 6th to note because it's the Monday after the holiday weekend. July 20th is then the next meeting after that, making sure that council members are going to be available.
Okay.
In the past, council had,
Yeah.
you know, only one meeting in July and August.
That works. I mean, I'll ask the council, who's going to be there? Do you know? June 6th? I meant July.
Perhaps we have another meeting. Two in July, because it would be a gap.
That's fine.
I will be away on the sixth.
You never know, do you?
I think I'd like to hear on the sixth. I actually could be gone until then, but.
Okay. You know.
I know that should be decided in two of both July and August, and then I think we got the idea like that was not necessary because we ended up with very short meetings.
I think that might be true, yeah.
So you were recommending,
I would recommend, staying with the July, well, I don't know which to say, maybe it's just perhaps. But, yeah, whether we should go to July 20th, but.
doesn't matter.
Keep the schedule as it is for now and discuss, think about it, or I maybe I'm sure with June meetings.
So
Okay.
basically, we don't have an answer.
Do you want to look at selecting an August meeting if you're going to go down to one meeting for August while you're all here to reach a consensus of availability?
Right now, you're scheduled for August 3rd and 17th.
So let's stay with August 3rd. That might be it. Stay with August 3rd.
You
I'll be here at 7 question for the.
You know you.
I will be here at August
17. Okay.
Spirit is.
We're into this. I don't think we can answer.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Well, Scott, okay, can we put this on the next?
Sure.
Okay, thanks. Okay. We were at ordinances, appointments, vacancies, and expired terms. The first one is, the Fire Department Compensation Committee, 2 fire department representatives with a 3-year term ending date of May 31st, 2029.
And this is ratification of,
Happy with that?
the fire department at their annual meeting they vote on who to appoint as their fire department representatives.
Okay.
So they voted both on Prim and Larry. So it's different. It was done differently in the past, and I think it was voted on in that way always, but it was never brought to the town council the way it was this year.
So, I would move to.
I know that's very confusing, but
Yeah, no, I understand, I think it's a little bit more clear.
yes.
So I will move to, then ratify their selections of Karen Bullock and, Larry.
Second.
Sorry. Thank you, Eddie. All in favor? Mary was pointing out something.
The July 6th meeting, the town council will stay nice.
That's right.
Given our requirements,
On the 6th.
just getting it.
It depends on how the company that they. About the 6th? Well, we'll just keep that in mind.
I'll put that on. I'll put that on the next agenda.
Okay.
We do the August 3rd, could we, because Labor Day is so late, puts us like 5+ weeks, when we have our next meeting. Don't think around me, but the 17th then falls kind of in the middle of this weekend, so it might be good for us to do something in the middle.
So put your 1 year suggestion, 17.
Yeah, just we space it out.
Do you want to vote on that now? Yeah.
That is strictly up to you.
Okay.
One of the first things.
So.
That we do it on the.
17.
Sure.
And only one.
Move, because we only meet once in August, and do it on August 17th. Second.
All in favor, we have a second? Any? Thank you, all in favor? Aye.
And we're still talking about calendar. I mean, Mary made a good point that the fireworks are on Monday, the 6th. That's.
Mary, I can hear the plan. Are you ready? Oh.
Yep, July 28th. Very tired.
20th, or 17th.
All right.
We only have one meeting.
Make the motion.
Make motion. Yeah. We only have one meeting in July, and it's July 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. All right. Sorry,
At this point.
So next on our agenda is ordinance of the Homes Management Commission. There's a 1-member vacancy with an unexpired 3-year term ending December 31st, 2026. They have 3 interested applicants, Tony Zanero, Andrew Williams, and John Potter. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. It's,
That's good.
no, I think you're saying that mission, like, no.
That's not what you're Harvard.
It's very good, Harvard. Yeah.
I'm sorry it took so long.
Yeah.
I have to
We
apologize.
have really good applicants that I think here. Tony and I been to a lot of these meetings. John Potter has come to a lot of our meetings and stuff, so I think he's very active. So for me, it comes down to those two folks are really the rest of those years. But I think the third Tony is the fact that running a business out of there is a little bit of a concern for me and the perception of what that is. So I think because of that, I would go with John.
Can I say something about that?
I don't know. I mean,
Because
well, I think you can wait and
what you just said though was that you were concerned about Tony running a business out of the bank.
I think he meant,
That's not the harbor. So I'm just saying that he rents a space from the town on a dock, but he would be required to recuse if there was anything that came up with the dock. But just because he rents space from the town, I'm sure included in being on the harbor commission. Tony's one of the most qualified of the three candidates, and I know all three of them, but I've advocated for Tony, and I know, because he is at every meeting, he's well aware of everything that we have going on with Harbor, he's educated in it, and we can use his help. So I am definitely advocating for him, and I think we should consider that. Because we all rent it from Jamestown, we all pay taxes, so in some way, we all rent it from Jamestown. So it should make zero difference whether he rents a spot up here that is not the full harbor. This is one small segment of harbor in which he would recuse, just as what's happened here when you have a small conflict. So it's a very, very small harbor. So I do advocate for him. I hope he would consider that. If it's his intellect, his abilities, he's been asked many times in our meetings, even by Mr. Mello, his opinion. And just about every meeting that we have for Harbor, he will be called up to the podium for his opinion. And we value his opinion. So I hope he will consider that.
thanks. John?
I understand that. I've also heard really fantastic feedback about John Potter on that what getting admitted. So it's a tough one. I think I'm leaning in the direction of John Potter. It is.
I'm gonna go with Tony, just because I know Tony and I think he would be an asset.
I'm gonna make a motion to make John Potter to the Hollow Beach. I'll second.
All in favor?
I got it.
Nice.
Nay. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thanks for
Next, we have the consent agenda. I'll get the ladies to come back. If you guys wanna, let's wait for them to come in. Okay, all right, now we're at the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to, do we have any, I think we have.
There are.
Yeah, there are two. Two short-term rentals. Notifications of, under letter H.
Otherwise, so given that, ratify those and approve the consent agenda.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That brings us to communications, okay, did you guys want to say anything? Or? No. Hi, keep up the good work. Okay. Next, council acknowledges communications, and that brings us to open forum if necessary. Yeah. Mike, want to talk now? Okay. Seeing as there's no one that wants to speak, we'll, I have a motion to, we didn't close, just recess, so I'm sure that will be a session. So are you all saying, could somebody get the door? Thank you.
I'll be right back.